Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to my garden. Today is the 25th of August, and that means we only have 5 days left in this month, and it's about time that we did a garden tour. So, happy coffee, and let's get started. We are going to start over here with all of these sad-looking shallow containers first. It is actually 4:30 p.m. right now, and usually it would be too bright for me to want to do a garden tour at this time of day, but it has been overcast all day, and it is, I think, in the high 70s right now, and this is the coolest it has been in a long time. So I am taking advantage of it while I can, outside, comfortably in my garden. I'm so happy. So a lot of these containers don't have anything growing in them, or they have things in them that have just died in the midsummer heat and needs to be replanted. So that's why we're going to start over here. We'll just do a quick overview of what all is here. This container had some green beans in it that have since died, as well as this one. They both had Red Tail OG green beans from Johnny's Seed, and those did phenomenally for me this year. They really didn't mind the heat at all. They only minded that I wasn't watering them because I got sick, but I have plenty of time still to replant some green beans, and I do plan to do that. Here we have some carrots that are left over that I was growing from spring. There are carrots in there, but I'm sure they taste bad and are woody. So I was trying to let them go to seed, but instead of going to seed, they're just dying. So I'll probably just pull them all out and maybe add them to my compost or let my mom feed them to her chickens. This container right here did have some mesclun lettuce mix in the spring, and then this Aztec Sunset Zinnia all through summer. That was really, really beautiful. I'm going to plant more of those here in the next couple of days so that I can hopefully have some fall blooms. In this container is one singular loofah vine, and the vine is actually everywhere and just on top of everything. My plan was to have that trellis up before this got too long that it was unmanageable, but sometimes life gets in the way and things don't happen. So that trellis has not been put up yet, and that loofah has not been doing so well. Not that it's in like a giant container anyway. It was a little bit of an experiment regardless, but that it will probably just be chopped down and composted soon. This Goblin Gaillardia is actually kind of growing, and these are all just old containers that had stuff growing in them, but I didn't end up using it. They died here. It's been sitting there a long time. A little bit embarrassed by that fact, actually, but that's okay. We'll move on. There is nothing growing in this container. In this container, there is a honey nut squash that got absolutely eaten by whatever kind of bugs these are. I'm not sure, but I didn't get to eat those, but they probably would have eaten something else of mine if they weren't eating this squash, so that's fine. They can have it. And this container is just a Cosmo that is dry and dead from me not watering it while it was 100 degrees outside, and some weeds, just grass growing in here. These two teal blue containers in the front did have cucumbers in them over a good bit of the summer. These ones were Katrina F1 cucumbers. These ones were Silver Slicer. They both did really well. This is probably the best year that I've had for cucumbers since I've been gardening, and I plan to replant some cucumbers for fall, but those are long since dead from the heat. A little tiny bit of green left, but you can see the powdery mildew and stuff. They just were not happy. And then some parsley in the center. That is doing fine, I guess. These 3 yellow containers were squash plants. I had early yellow straight neck squash and also Italian striped zucchini, and both of those plants did very, very well. I think there's actually, I don't remember what kind of little melons. I had a little melon plant over there, and that just never really took off after I put it into the garden in general. So this is kind of my, that had onions in it, and I never planted anything after the onions were harvested. So this is kind of my dead little area that does not look so good, but it is about to be replanted. I've been saving all of these shallow containers to go at the base of this trellis when it's done. But not the entire garden is dead. All of the peppers are doing pretty well still. I did say it was a really good cucumber year, but honestly, it has been the year of the pepper. All of my pepper plants, even through the neglect that I gave them, the lack of water, the immense heat that we've had this summer. I also haven't fertilized my containers in quite a while. They do have some granular fertilizer in there, so it probably didn't run out as soon as I think it did, but I usually give a liquid fertilization in my water like twice a month, and I haven't done that in probably 2.5 months. So I'm actually really surprised at the state of all my peppers considering what they've gone through. The amount of times I've walked outside within the last month and been like, oh, my peppers are so droopy, but I don't have time, I gotta go to work, is ridiculous, but somehow I've kept them alive. This first pepper right here is the only pepper that I have of this kind, and this year is actually the first year that I have ever grown this pepper, so I've not actually tasted it yet, so I can't attest to the flavor, but it is a really compact little plant that has produced so many peppers. There are a lot of peppers on it right now. This is called the datil pepper. It is between 100,000 and 300,000 Scoville units, and I will probably make some kind of fruity hot sauce here soon. All of these orange ones need to be harvested, and I will probably do that tomorrow morning because I do plan to be in the garden a lot over the next few days. This is just a weed next to it. I didn't plant that. That is the only thing in this container. Hopping across the way just into this red container, this is a California Wonder bell pepper. They ripen to red, and after the heat has died down, it is putting on a lot of new flowers. Like I said, I'm going to try and keep these alive as long as possible and get another harvest out of them that I can actually keep in my kitchen and use more of than I have. These two are also bell peppers. This one's kind of growing wonky, kind of laid over in the container, but it's still doing fine. It didn't break, so I left it. And this one here, oh, there's actually a tiny pepper on it. Nice. These are Sunbright bell peppers. They're not nearly as big as a bell pepper that you would get in the store, but I don't need them to be as big as the ones that you get in the store because I'm just growing them at home, and I have enough of them that if I need more, I can just use more than one. Look at all the little flowers popping up on that one as well. It has been a great pepper year, and oh, ripped a leaf. And the peppers are not even done producing yet. Again, hopping across over there, we have a container of nadapinos. That is a jalapeno that has been bred to not be spicy. So for that person in your life who doesn't like spice, those would be great. Those plants don't look quite as good as my other peppers, but can't win them all. This container did have a pepper plant in it, but I think it got outcompeted by all this grass, which I dearly need to remove. And there is the remnants of what was an amaranth in there. In this container right here, we have 3 more peppers that don't look great, but don't look terrible. I can revive these. And this one is a banana pepper, and those 2 are nadapiño peppers again. And then these zinnias are actually in that container, but they did not thrive through the heat, and I just left the flowers on the plant to dry out, because now we have focus zinnia seeds. Some of these I will save and replant in my stone flower bed down there. This container had a tomatillo in it. It was a Rio Grande Verde tomatillo, and it just never really did great. It was really spindly the whole time that I had it growing, but that's alright. And this freaking wild blackberry bush growing all through here just loves to poke me, so I'm gonna have to remove that soon. This is a serrano pepper, and it has produced so many peppers for me that even if this one completely dies and I'm not able to revive it, it for sure outweighed its cost in how much I did to take care of it. This plant has made at least 100 peppers. We actually have a friend who really enjoys spicy food, and while I was sick, he had asked if I had any peppers he could buy, so I, in my sickness, walked outside in like flip-flops and a tank top and just picked every ripe pepper that I could find and gave it to him. So he got 2 grocery bags full of peppers of all different kinds for $15, so not all the peppers went to waste, even though I didn't use them. Next to that serrano pepper is also the remnants of a Sugar Rush peach pepper. Most of those I sold to my friend as well, But I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the Sugar Rush Peach for the season, at least these ones, because they already weren't doing so good, and they take a long time to ripen, and I'm not sure if I have enough time left in my frost-free season for them to actually ripen for me. And I don't prefer the flavor of them unripe, so we'll just get rid of that for now, and I'll try again next season. Across the way here is my fig tree. It is a Chicago hardy fig. It has lost its leaves twice this year, and then produced them all back, once because of spider mites and once because I was not watering it enough. But now that I've moved it into the garden and it's been getting regular water along with my outside plants, it's doing really well. I plan to buy another fig tree probably this fall so that I can have two so they can pollinate each other, and hopefully I will get figs next year. In this black container we have 3 Anaheim peppers and 1 Cosmo that dried up in the heat. It is not going to be coming back, but that will be a great source of browns for my compost bin, so I'm fine with that. And I find it really interesting that all 3 of these are Anaheim peppers from the exact same company, so it's not even like they're seeds from different places, but this one is so tiny. I don't understand. This one looks like it topped itself. I did top some of these, but this one is tall with barely any leaves. This one's tall with a lot of leaves, and this one's just so short. I don't understand. Maybe this one had some kind of bug damage, or maybe it wasn't getting quite as much sun. I'm not sure, but I just always find that interesting. But this one also does already have a lot of new growth, so chances are I will just snip off these branches that don't look good and let it regrow from the stalk. This orange container has 1 Italian oregano, which I thought was completely dead, but I do see some green growth way down there on the inside, as well as 2 kale plants. I don't remember which type of kale. This stick and those 2 sticks are all kale. Actually, I had Nero Toscana and Dazzling Blue, so a mixture of those. I let those stay in the containers in the end of spring and beginning of summer to act as a trap crop, meaning these sticks that were kale plants and did provide me with gallons of leaves to eat over the end of winter, spring, and beginning of summer. Now, they are here and just sitting, waiting for things like beetles, aphids, spider mites, all of those bad sap-eating bugs that can kind of detect when your plants are already sad, will come and eat these instead of my other plants that I want to eat. So, if I can choose which plants I'm going to share, it's going to be the ones that don't taste good to me anymore, and that's fine with me. In the front container with this 1 kale stick is some chives, which are all big enough that they've started spreading apart. I can actually tell that they're multiple plants now. And then we have 2 Snapshot snapdragons. 1 is Snapshot yellow, 1 is Snapshot burgundy bicolor. And then this is actually a native perennial phlox. It is really beautiful. I love these flowers. I call it my river flower often because we were at the river. I had never seen this plant before. I saw it and I saw how it was flowering, and my love bug was sweet and used a stick to dig it up out of the ground and take some home for me, and I've had it growing in the garden ever since. This next container is 3 more Sugar Rush peach peppers. Again, they don't look the greatest, but these ones do have nice new green growth down at the bottom. So if I have the space, I might leave these and see what happens, try and refresh them. And then if they do die, the container will just be perfectly ready for something else to go in it. There is 2 Cosmos in this container as well. 1 died in the heat. 1 died back some in the heat, but is not totally dead and is putting on little flower buds again. But this one got hit pretty hard. I'm not sure if I'll chop it down or not. These little containers in the front are some orange daylilies that I got from my mom. She has a whole patch of daylilies over at her house, and these will soon be going into that stone flower bed over there. I'm going to extend it more that way and put some more perennials in there. I've learned that I don't love having perennials in containers. These next 2 plants are some more serrano peppers. Again, I've gotten probably over 100 peppers from each serrano plant that I have, which is I think 3, maybe 4. So these peppers are also doing really well. Lots of green ones, lots of red ones, slowly ripening. That is a beautiful picture, if you ask me. In my opinion, serranos and jalapenos are probably the best peppers for people who don't really love spicy food, but can somewhat tolerate it. I've heard a lot of people say that a serrano is as spicy as they can go. So that's why I have quite a lot of those, in case I'm making food for other people, or I want, you know, my mom and dad to be able to eat it, then I can just put a little bit of spice instead of a lot. We're almost done with the peppers, just a few more, and these three are looking fairly decent. We've got 2 California Wonder bell peppers right here and right here, and those are putting on new blooms again now that it has cooled down, but no actual peppers on there yet. And here we have a Craig's Grande jalapeno, which is a traditional large jalapeno, and I really love it. It produces a lot. I grow this kind every year. And then some snapdragons. So we've got Snapshot Yellow, Snapshot Burgundy Bicolor, and those are Snapshot Red. Oh, did I mention they're dwarf? These are dwarf snapdragons. We're going to skip these buckets for now and talk about them in just a second. First, we'll look at this stuff. This is more, some of it's perennial, some's not. But these are some types of lilies. Those are perennials that need replanted. That is a canna lily, perennial again. Another daylily. I'm not sure what kind that is, but some kind of lily. Most of these are bulbs that will go into that rock flower bed again. And then we've got some vinca over here. That is not a perennial. It's just really drought tolerant. So even through all of the heat and stress that it had, it's still doing pretty good and making flowers. All right, we were just over there and came around this way. So here on this side of the garden, we have my only Cosmo that is actually not looking the worst and still blooming. There is a bug asleep in the flower. Oh, yeah, asleep. I was correct. I was like, wait, is it dead? No. Just sleeping the day away in the flower. But this is the only one that has produced more blooms since it has cooled down. And these are actually one of my favorite ones that I grew this year. I love the tubular shaped petals, and the color is just stunning. I look at these from my house all the time. Then in here with it, we have 2 poblano peppers and 1 banana pepper. All 3 of these peppers stopped producing peppers after maybe my second harvest. I have not had any more poblanos, so I'm not sure if... Oh, well, prove myself wrong, I guess. Look, there's one right here. But it's really tiny. That's like extra small in comparison to how these ones were doing. So I'm not sure if these ones will stay in the garden or not for the fall. I might go ahead and chop them down to use the space for something else. The banana pepper I actually grow for my dad because he really loves pickled banana peppers, and I made him a pretty big jar of pickled banana peppers, so I think he might be good for a while. Not for a whole year, but he can buy some over the winter, that's fine. He'll be good for a while. This is the last container with a pepper in it, actually 2 peppers in it, and they are the Pippin's Golden Honey Peppers. I have loved these so much. They are so sweet. These are what I have been snacking on in the garden. Every time I come out here, I just pick one off and eat it while I'm walking around. They are so sweet. Golden honey, correct. That is a correct assumption. And they're so pretty. I wonder if there are any flowers on it right now. There are some flowers. If you can see the purple streaking in the outside of the flowers, that also shows up on the inside of the flowers. So these are little white flowers with purple streaks through them. They start out green, they turn to purple, and then, let me see if I can show you an example. I think you can kind of see the purple still there, and then go to orange. So not only are these beautiful and delicious, but if I can keep them alive to October, they kind of look like a pumpkin version of a pepper. And that makes me happy. They're like Halloween themed. I don't even have to ask. Oh, here, this one. That one has a lot more purple on it. There it is. They're so pretty. The plants got really tall and kind of fell over, but that's fine. They're doing fine. Okay, the last little container in this row is this one. This is my chocolate mint that I think I have almost killed several times, but somehow it is still coming back. So I really hope that I can actually, you know what? It's not a hope. I am going to make time over the next couple days to take that out of its pot, cut it into quarters, and repot it into a new container so that it will actually thrive and have some space in the pot that's actually soil and not roots, because I'm sure it's root bound in there. That mint has been in that container for probably 2 years. So plants want to grow, and that is a testament to it, but I do need to get my act together and actually give it what it needs so that it can thrive. Okay, we finished that whole line of containers, so let's go back here past the perennials and talk about these empty buckets. This is where I was growing potatoes over the summer, and I recently harvested the rest of them. In total, I think I got probably something around 25 pounds of potatoes from 8 of these containers in just one harvest. So another project that I have to do over this week is to revamp all of these containers. Meaning I want to take out not all of the soil, take out a good portion of soil from each one and add in compost and new soil amendments, start watering it with a water-soluble fertilizer so that it is nutrient dense and can hold plants. I was thinking that I would do another round of potatoes before the frost comes, but the red potatoes just did not grow as well for me as the Kennebec potatoes did, and I don't have any of the Kennebec potatoes left, so I don't think I'll be doing another round of potatoes, but now I know for next year. Here is my green stalk that is still separated down until I can get that trellis up and organize the garden how I want it. But all of the strawberries, not all of them, most of the strawberries have revived themselves after I've been giving them consistent water. They did not at all enjoy that heat, especially since I was neglecting them. Like this one, look at all these dead leaves, and just one tiny little green baby leaf since I've been watering it recently. But a lot of them are still okay. But you know what? Most of these were strawberries that I didn't choose the variety on or have a lot of investment in, so even if a lot of them do die back, it's not that big of a loss. I wanted to get some new strawberry plants next year anyway, and soon I will probably put these strawberries into little pots, and I'm going to use this green stalk to grow green beans and maybe beets over the fall. Here are some terracotta pots and just my little table. These terracotta pots are going to be broken down and turned into mortar. Some more terracotta pots. These are irises. Those are perennials as well, so those will also be going over there in that flower bed. And then this is just a container of a bunch of extra pots that I have. I actually lessened the amount of random stuff that was in this pile. Honestly, it was trash. A lot of it was trash that I just felt bad to throw away because I don't want to throw away something that could be potentially useful, but all of it was not UV protectant plastic, and it was just literally disintegrating in my hands when I tried to pick it up, so we just got rid of it. Alright guys, so this is my homemade rock flower bed. All of these rocks were picked up from either my property or from the dirt road that I live on, and I just filled it with some extra... Ooh, a lizard! What's up, dude? How you doing? You having a good day? You are adorable. Oh, bye! So all of these rocks were picked up either from my property or from the dirt road that I live on, and I just stacked them as well as I could around the edges, used these boards to kind of keep it straight, and then just ended up leaving the boards there. I do want to make it deeper, so stack the rocks up at least to where that one is stacked, if not another one on top of that. And I have a couple more boards actually that will help me with that soon. In the middle there, I have another honey nut squash, and it as well split open, and bugs started to eat it, so I just thought they could have it. It's fine. We do have my 2 mammoth sunflowers here on this end, which have been really fun to watch grow, and they are actually just about ready for me to harvest. Let me try and focus better on that. So these little flower things in the middle actually cover the sunflower seeds. So all of these little things, oh, there's a bug in there, are all sunflower seeds that I will keep to replant another time. And there's more under all of this. You're supposed to wait to harvest it until all of these middle things kind of fall off easily when you brush them. So all around the edge, they're coming off, but in the middle, some of them are kind of starting to, but in the middle, it's not quite ready yet. I could harvest it now and get plenty of mature seeds, but why not have an excess so that I can share? And I do have another sunflower right here that is the same variety. I haven't actually rubbed any off of this yet, so let's take the satisfaction together. Yeah, that's how easy you want it to be. Just barely rub it and they all come off. This one, we have a friend who really enjoys eating sunflower seeds, and I don't think I need 2 of these sunflowers worth of seeds, so I was just going to let him have it. There are more sunflowers in here, over on the edges over here. Those ones were not mammoth varieties. Those, I think they're lemon queen sunflowers, and maybe a couple other kinds. These are my Goldie sunflowers. I can't fully remember the name. Goldie Honey Bear. I'll put it on the screen what the exact name of these are, and they are really small for what they're supposed to be, but like I said, they probably got just as neglected as everything else, and they do have little flowers coming, so I will at least get to see them. We've got some cosmos here. These are Cupcake's white cosmos, and they're actually blooming again, but a couple of them didn't do so good. There's some cosmos up here as well. These are the Seashells blend, so I don't know exactly what variety. And then a bunch of zinnias, which did not get very tall, but they got pretty bushy, and I was happy to look at them. And these ones, again, I just stopped harvesting the heads so that I could have zinnia seeds. I'm not sure if these are actually mature seed or not, but I tried. Let's see. Those ones have seed for sure. It's that flat bit. So most of this stuff is actually just so that the plant can spread its seeds easily. But this one right here, hold on, let me get it. So most of this is just little fluff that is supposed to aid the plant in dispersing its seed through wind. But this right here is actually the seed. This part is attached to the middle of the flower, and then these little things are attached to the seed like that. So this is kind of what you're seeing all over the flower. One seed with one little like balloon, I guess, to try and take it. This one right here is also a seed. So when you pull these off, these are the little balloons that you're seeing. And the seed is actually what is directly connected. Oh, that's a good one. Those are good. Those broad, flatter ones are actually the seed. Yay! That's a lot of zinnia seed. Let's just throw that in there. I said I was going to try to make this a quick garden tour, but I feel like I am never able to make it a quick garden tour. I always just want to talk and talk about my plants. But we are done with the flowers and the peppers. Now all we have left is this wall of tomatoes. So let's do it. So starting from this end, this first little container is actually a Lavender Queen butterfly pea, which I have been trying every season for 3 years now to grow. And oh my goodness, I actually didn't know this was here. Oh my gosh, it actually created little beans. What? It has never done this for me before. That's so cool. I'm going to be able to save seed from these. So these are dried out on the plant. So when you break them open, it's just going to be some little black seeds, and then I can replant this. Yay! That's so exciting. This is the tallest it has ever gotten for me. For some reason, this flower is really hard to grow, but it's such a cool flower because it's pH sensitive. So it will turn your tea purple, and if you add lemon juice, it'll change to pink, I think. And if you put it in a base, I think it goes green, which is super cool. This next container actually doesn't have much in it. This is from that one. This is a Norwood Miners tomato and then a bunch of grass. And this tomato, even though it looks like it's dead, has still been producing tomatoes here up at the top. It just, oh, that one's ripe. It just does not care what the weather is like. He's like, you want tomatoes? I'll give you tomatoes. And this yellow container has one Dr. Witchy yellow tomato and one yellow pear tomato, both of which I started from suckers that I pruned off of my other plants. Those aren't doing so great. I don't know what all of this is all over the leaves, if it's from bugs or if it's a disease, but it looks terrible. All the way up the stem, it has those little dots. So I'm not sure. I will let them keep growing because up at the top they look great and they have really new flowers on them. So I'm going to get these actually attached to the trellis and see how they do. In this container we have an English thyme, which is this plant, and it did not enjoy the heat. It died back a lot. Then 2 more Norwood Miners cherry tomatoes. Again, just producing tomatoes all the time, no matter what. These plants do not care. This is a container that I've started that I don't need to be the entire depth of the container. So what I do is fill up the bottom with hydrophobic used soil or sticks or little pieces of wood, cardboard, old wood shavings like I use for my mulch, and I just use that to fill the bottom, and then I fill it from about 1/3 of the way where it's at all the way to the top with nice rich soil, and then eventually all of that will just become soil too. This, oh, there's a little sticker bush, I don't want to touch it, but in this fake terracotta container, it's actually plastic, there was a couple of cosmos, there's a goblin gaillardia down in there, and I think there was a zinnia in there too, but they have since dried up and mostly died. This cosmo, not this specific flower, but this plant actually produced my favorite cosmo flowers this season. This black container, there's a few different kinds of zinnias and other flowers that I just wanted some color in my garden closer to where my vegetables were, and it did really, really good. But I'm sure that it has used all the nutrients from that container, as well as it is right in the forefront because this is south facing, so this is where the sun comes and just beats directly on it. So I'm sure it dried out a lot, but it produced a lot of flowers and made me really happy. This container is my Dr. Witchy yellow tomato and one, and honestly I don't even remember what this other kind of oh, I do! It was my Dr. Witchy yellow tomato and my Russian stripy tomato. This was my Russian one. I think this might be a determinate variety because it never got any taller than this right here. And then after it produced like one big set of fruit, it died back. So I think that that's more of a determinate than an indeterminate, and I will keep that in mind for next year. But this Dr. Witchy yellow is actually the only tomato that I have that at all this season has shown signs of tomato hornworms. If you don't know what those signs are, it is all these sticks. They crawl on the underside of your leaves and on your stem, and they will eat all of your foliage, which means your plant can't photosynthesize. They will also eat your tomatoes. Let me show you. Oh, of course, I picked off the good one and not the bad one, but they'll eat your tomatoes. This is from a tomato hornworm. I actually have not seen any hornworms in my garden this season at all. I just know what the damage looks like. But what I have been seeing all over this trellis are so many different kinds of birds every single day. Little American goldfinches, we've got doves on there in the morning, I've seen cardinals on there, bluebirds, all of the different kinds of birds. They love to sit on the bars of my trellis, and I thought that they were eating my tomatoes, but now that I think of it, I think they were doing pest protection, which is great. I love that. Still to this day, I have not seen a single tomato hornworm, even though I know they were there. I know they were. And they also only seemed to be on this plant for some reason. Like, these ones are taller, and I did not see any damage or physical hornworms on that one. That's the Dr. Witchy and the Russian tomato. Next we have a Costa Luto Genovese tomato and a Brad's Atomic Grape tomato. The Brad's Atomic Grape almost always dies out pretty quickly for me, but this by far is the worst it has ever done. But as I recall, it looked pretty bad when I put it in, so could be gardener error. The Costoluto Genovese did pretty good. It actually has 2 main leaders. Here's some tomato here. This one's ripe, actually. That one doesn't have any damage, so I could eat that one. And there's some more green ones up on top. We have another English thyme, and then that last trap crop of kale right here. And then this is a Sunrise Bumblebee cherry tomato, which is actually my favorite kind. But this plant just did not do very well, and I did not get to eat but maybe 5 little cherry tomatoes off of it. In this container we have 2 cherry tomato plants. One is the Napa Rosé, which is actually started to regrow from the bottom and has a lot of really nice looking tomatoes hanging over this container over here. Oh, that one was obviously ripe. So that one is just trying its hardest to still be producing tomatoes, and I admire it for that. And this yellow pear tomato is actually my tallest tomato of the season and has for sure produced the most tomatoes of any of my plants. T-posts are 10 feet tall before you put them in the ground, and that tomato plant is almost to the tippy top. So maybe that's an 8-foot tomato plant, considering it's coming like from a container and it's almost touching the very top of that trellis. It's pretty tall. But this Napa Rosé, these cherry tomatoes look so good. No, I did not wash it off. And last, but hopefully not least, we have a purple tomatillo, which is just now starting to put on flowers after getting absolutely huge in this container. But I don't know if it'll do too well, because tomatillos are one of those plants that prefer to have 2 of the same plant. It doesn't have to be the same variety, but this tomatillo plant would prefer to get pollen from a different tomatillo plant. And as you saw earlier, my other tomatillo plant is absolutely dead. So this is the only one I have. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but it is what it is. This big space in the middle, well, I guess it's kind of at the end, not in the middle, is going to be where my trellis is. So we have to remove this big section of bushes, and it's going to be an arch going this way. So if we just walk straight from that trellis over to about here is where the first post will be, and then the one directly across will be about right there. So it will be an arch from here over like this. It's kind of, the bushes are kind of giving you an example. This is the shape we're going for. This is the area we want it. And it's going to be 2 wide. So there's going to be 1 cattle panel and then 1 more cattle panel coming this way. And it'll be a 2 cattle panel long arched trellis. I feel like every home gardener dreams of an arched trellis, and someday it happens, and I'm gonna love it so much. Next year, growing cucumbers on it, growing loofah on it, and actually having a space for the loofah to be before I put it in the ground is gonna be chef's kiss. Okay, everybody, that is what the garden is looking like right now. 5 days until September, and hopefully by this time next week, everything will look different, and I will do my best to bring you guys along for that. Thank you so much for coming along in my garden today. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you all in the next one.